Welcome back to the show. I have a question for you. Have you ever tried to install a disk drive that needed to authenticate with the internet? Because that somehow is one of our topics today. Also in the news, we've got a funny little situation with Overwatch where they have acknowledged the community outcry on a few issues, but they've acknowledged it with a firm yes, we see you, and we're not actually going to change the thing that you're angry about right now, which, yeah, little suspicious. Also, Valve have had to change up some stuff with currencies, and Halo Infinite is actually worth paying attention to, I would say, especially if you, if you just kind of shut the game down, never thought about it again. What the community have been able to make in Forge with some of their new tools is genuinely newsworthy. And of course, a massive thanks to today's sponsor, Skillshare, who have got an unbeatable deal for our viewers. The first 500 use my link, get 30 days entirely free, and then a massive 40% off the annual plan. Now, for those passionate about video content and editing, this is kind of the moment. I personally began as a video editor, and right now, be it long or short form, the world is hungry for editors. And today's standout class is The Art of Storytelling: An Intuitive Approach by the talented editor Abner Cross. His emphasis is not just on mastering the software, but genuinely grasping the essence of editing. And as Cross brilliantly puts it, editing seamlessly melds technical prowess with storytelling principles aimed to elicit profound emotions from viewers. This is about crafting those mesmerizing edits that wholly immerse and captivate audiences. It's a class that is bridging the technical and the creative, giving you a comprehensive look into the world of editing. Skillshare, of course, has a wealth of career-focused classes, if that's what you're interested in, be it the likes of video editing, photography, and illustration, like with my job, as we've covered today, learning new platforms like Shopify, or just honing your craft. And you can get the fantastic offer of 40% off the annual plan, and just get started for free with a 30-day trial if you're one of the first 500 to click my link. So dive into and harness the art of storytelling through editing today. Check out that link in the description. Overwatch then, Aaron Keller has done his Season 7 Director's Take blog to respond to some player complaints, right? And it's been really talking about some of the biggest issues for the fans. Quote, "We'll be detailing the direction of our reworked competitive mode at BlizzCon. However, we'll be talking about a new take on our Battle Pass and shop changes a little later, most likely early next year." Those competitive changes are actually fairly major. I find the current way that it's done in Overwatch 2, where, you play a bunch of matches and then they magically tell you, oh, here's what's happened to your MMR. To be honest, I just like it the way it was in StarCraft 2. You win, your points go up, you lose, your points go down. Simple, understandable, no faffing about. The thing that'll matter to many more people, though, is the Battle Pass thing. Because ultimately what happened is we went from a game that, you spend $40 on, to now a game where the premium Battle Pass that has the skin that you want costs itself $40. That obviously feels terrible. Many people say, hey, yeah, but look at League of Legends, look at how much those skins cost. This is a thing of something called price anchoring. People bought Overwatch, they played Overwatch, sometimes they, got involved in buying the loot boxes and stuff, but overall, it was a good enough, happy experience. Then, they just got a straight downgrade after they had been strung along for years. So yes, while you objectively could say that Riot are dipping into people's wallets a little bit more, you've got to actually empathize with the core Overwatch fan and just how strung along and then pretty distinctly downgraded those people have been. Of course, though, these Battle Pass changes being in 2024 means we're going to have to wait a while. I mean, at least I'd say 2 seasons. Now, there is some stuff with the Season 7 Battle Pass where they actually reverted some changes that people liked, like how the Mythic skin was unlocked in a few different, a few different tiers of the Battle Pass, which meant that even if you didn't massively progress, you'd still sort of get a little bit of what you paid for, which is still scummy, by the way. But yes, they're going to be doing something new. And I suppose the ideal thing here is that they just completely change up the progression model. They completely change up how the Battle Pass is done. They need to get rid of the FOMO, get rid of the expiry stuff. They need to actually take a few lessons from how the Halo Infinite Battle Passes are done, where they don't expire, because ultimately, a company should not be selling a digital product that just goes poof, right? That makes no sense. It just feels mean. Now, there are examples of Blizzard actually doing some fairly good work. As an example, Diablo 4, this is one of the less documented things until people actually play the new season. You're absolutely swimming in legendaries, truly swimming in it. Been checking in the D4 community, and it does seem that the devs over there have actually made some really damn good changes, which is nice to see. The important thing, though, changing the loot system to be more fun for players is very different to changing the store system, because, yeah, well, the store system's the thing that's going to be making the money. So whenever Joe Shelley says we're glad players are having fun in Season of Blood and have no plans to nerf it, it's like, yeah, he's speaking to their past mistakes, but this kind of good attitude here will not necessarily carry over into the business models of their games. Now, I know a lot of people have been reporting on, there's Phil Spencer, being all fun, being a bit of a goof. He's got his tongue out in the photo. Yeah, because Phil obviously went to the Activision Blizzard offices. And in fairness, like, a lot of people in that company, the more, I suppose, like, lower level staff, the rank and file people who we don't always hear about, like, broadly speaking, I think almost all the staff are looking at the change and thinking it's good. At the very least, because Microsoft has signed that agreement with, I believe, the CWA on, neutrality with unions, which is, for them, the staff, going to be a default better position than they were in with Activision Blizzard. So they'll be happy about that regardless. But it does remain to be seen whether this sort of positive energy will actually translate over into the games. And there's one thing with both Diablo and Overwatch that they acknowledged, but really didn't say much about. So here's the deal. Lilith, Demon Mummy. I mean, a lot of people were disappointed in Diablo 4 that they didn't get to side with the Lilith, and that Lilith, wouldn't just be in the game forever. Lilith, very good character design, and certainly appeals to a certain section of the online player base, which is all very good. Now, they spent a lot of time for Season 7 of Overwatch highlighting this Lilith skin for Moira. But then guess what happened? Players logged in and they found out, oh, this skin isn't on the Battle Pass. Instead, it was a part of the shop-only Ultimate Bundle. Now, that Ultimate Bundle cost $40, which is like the price of Overwatch 1, Lamau, but also is the same price as the Ultimate Bundle that came with the PvE content last season. And this very much is telling us, like, yeah, like with, say, the Black Cell Battle Pass that they have on Call of Duty, they're going to be wanting to have these, like, big $40 bundles. And that's not just a unique special thing that's going on for PvE. You see, the thing is, when you actually tally up the, the value of that Ultimate Bundle, it is fairly large. And because it comes with the pass, all of those extra credits are going to go into buying skins in the store. So it's one of those things where, to go to Torolf Jernstrom's, infamous talk about monetization, you kind of are giving people a deal so good they cannot refuse. They look at how much Overwatch coins cost normally, they then look at the bundle like, shit, I have to get the bundle. It just makes so much sense that I can do this once. It's the most cost-efficient way for me to engage with this. But then the thing is, that is that's the thin and rapidly thickening end of the wedge. Anyway, this is what Aaron said. Some players felt like Lilith, was the best skin of the season, and were upset that the only way to get it was to purchase one of our highest priced bundles. We do sell an Ultimate Battle Pass bundle every season with the legendary skins in it, and we will continue to do so. So, good to know that there won't be any major changes. However, the lesson that we're taking away from this moment, it's like, oh, we're listening, we're sorry, we're taking lessons, is to make sure that we provide more ways to acquire some of our most popular skins. Here's the thing. This is just obvious damage control. At the end of the day, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew that this Lilith skin, some people felt like it was the best skin of the season. You also felt like it was the best skin of the season. That's why you marketed it so heavily. Like, come on, man. That said, I cannot really blame Aaron personally for any of this. It's not really his fault. At the end of the day, he is in one of those, between a rock and a hard place situations where he does kind of have to represent the monolithic skin machine that now is Blizzard Entertainment. They knew exactly what they were doing with this. And to be real with you, yeah, they'll probably have there be more ways to earn these skins, but I imagine they will do it in a way that deepens engagement with the core system. So basically, as I think it was Big Winston, not the one in Overwatch, said this, never waste a good crisis. So I am sure that they will be able to find a new way of doing this that will increase their monetization, that will get more people involved in the premium ecosystem of Overwatch 2, and they will be able to do that in a way that to their core audience feels like a fairly major benefit. Because, hey, this is what any of us would do if we were in that situation. We're thinking, right, we cannot let the number go down, but we do need to make the people at least feel like we're doing something good. How do we do this? And turns out you can solve that problem by design. You can just design a better system of getting money out of people. At the end of the day, you look at so many Battle Pass systems, like even Halo Infinite, so much of the criticism people had was like, hey, the store isn't good. Hey, the Battle Pass isn't good. I want more stuff. So, yeah. I think they'll have a sneaky way around this. Valve are removing some currencies from Steam, and this is actually fairly interesting. Now, in an ideal world, this would mean that consumers with less purchasing power on their currency are not priced out of the hobby. But in reality, what it actually means is that many people are buying games in Argentina or Turkey because the currency ends up being wildly cheap. One of the advents of the YouTube algorithm is everybody now knows of channels like Economics Explained and Money and Macro, etc. So we now are all kind of Forex experts. You know, we know all about what's happening with the lira. And yes, those currencies have been undergoing like crazy inflation, all of this madness. And what that means is people can just VPN across, buy a game in another country, they get an amazing deal, and yeah, that's kind of that. And it also is kind of awkward for Valve because publishers and developers will definitely be trying to like lobby Valve to change these things because obviously it's not good for them. So ultimately what's happened here is that as of November 20th, instead of Latin American currencies, including Argentina, there is now the LATAM USD, and replacing Middle Eastern currencies, including Turkey, we've got the MENA USD. Across a total of 25 currencies. And here's what they've said. Exchange rate volatility in Argentina and Turkey in recent years made it hard for game developers to choose appropriate prices for their games and keep them current. We've heard this loud and clear in our developer meetups and roundtable chats. In addition, we've had a hard time keeping Steam payment methods up and running in these territories because of the constant Forex, like fluctuations, fees, taxes, and logistical issues. So the power is still in the devs to set their own prices here. This ultimately will lead to more price stability. I think the reason though why I'm really talking about it here, because most of our audience is not in these regions, it's because a fairly popular thing for people is to VPN hop about the place. And indeed, whenever, YouTubers, whenever we talk about VPNs, we do talk about regional price differences. And it's one of those things that people will often use. So there you go. That's being changed. I suppose the thing that we will have to see is what will be the price of games in these new currencies. Okay, our next story then. Quite a strange one. So some PlayStation users have had their eyebrows raised at the reveal that their new optional disk drive for the PS5 Slim requires an internet certification upon installation. This was captured by VGC. The upcoming PS5 Slim's detachable disk drive is it's a pretty cool thing, actually, balances form factor and practicality. If you really want one, you can go and get one. Kind of cool. And from accessibility, game preservation, that's also really good. So the first time you set up your PS5, you'll need an internet connection to actually pair this disk drive with your console, which is quite funky. And it does kind of mean that inherently then there's a timer on the functionality of the console with this disk drive. And I suppose that means once those certification servers go down, so does your disk drive, unless if those things were to go down, they were to just say, yeah, it's fine, we're unlocking all the disk drives. There could still be some issues there, but ultimately, as VGC explained in their breakdown of this situation, there could be a couple of rationales here as to what's kind of causing this problem. Basically stuff that comes down to DMCA enforcement and potentially an impact on right to repair opposition lobbying, which is quite fun to read from their analysis. This may be partially due to section 1201 of the DMCA, which says it is illegal to circumvent a technological measure that effectively controls access to a copyright work, in which case, this is the firmware on the disk drive. As such, in order to prevent piracy and third-party repairs, Sony and Microsoft use the pairing method to ensure that each console can only work with the specific disk drive assigned to it, meaning users can't modify or replace the drive. Yeah. Pretty strange concession, and it's one of those things, even though you may understand all the reasons why they're doing this, fundamentally, it's like buying a car where there are heated seats in the car, but you've got to pay for a software update to unlock them. And you can kind of understand, it's right, I get it, this is a paid bonus thing. And the reason why, you don't have to select this when your car's being configured is because it's just cheaper to manufacture everything the same, totally standardized. But then, fundamentally, even though you do understand why a car company may do all of that stuff, you'll just end up saying yeah, I get it, but the hardware's in my goddamn chair. Why do I have to spend money on an app to get seat heating? And I suppose for a lot of people, that's kind of how little things like this actually feel. Okay, our final thing though, and it does bring me joy to actually bring you guys happy stories, really, I know, and that's with Halo Infinite. Of course, I love Halo, have since I was a kid. So Halo Infinite Season 5 is kind of continuing this very slow crawl that 343 have been doing as they kind of try to get this game back, in alignment with the player expectations. And what's going to happen is the number one Firefight will be coming back mid-season. We've got new arena maps, a new DMR, and the return of extraction mode. But there's also some changes that have been fairly big deals. Number one is that match XP can be found in custom games. That means that you can level up your battle pass while playing any mode. Now, if you're playing Halo 3 around the same time I was when I was a bit younger, you'll probably know the just amazing wealth of custom games and stuff like that was going on in Halo. So this is really fantastic, and this will help them harness the community. So that's awesome. Next then, armor cores are finally being reworked, with helmets and armor coatings now being applicable across any character. Of course, I imagine they will continue to expand that, but overall, these are just really good changes. Now, the game itself is not hitting Battlefield 2042 numbers in Steam, or even Halo Infinite launch numbers, but there is actually some good movement here. You can see, they're just under 10K, then they're surging to like 18,000 players. We'll obviously have to see where that hits, but if you take a look at lifetime player count history, you actually do see things are going in a pretty good direction. But that's not all of the good news, actually, because Forge now has AI. And I think you can imagine how big that could be, because you can now spawn, right? Marines or Covenant soldiers in, and you can maybe make a PvE map for Halo. You can make a Horde mode. I would wonder, I used to play a lot of StarCraft, and the amount of times, you'd feel that playing 1v1 ladder in StarCraft 2 was just too stressful, so you'd go and play like a tug of war, custom game or something like that. That's now the sort of thing that will be possible in Halo Infinite. So we got fun things here like, Covenant Mon. Just, sure, whatever, there's Covenant and Pokeballs, let's do it. But also, right, here is a single lane MOBA light map that a player built in under 90 minutes. Now, I forget what it was called. Maybe it was the mode they had it had the requisitions monetization, which didn't feel good, but I actually thought the mode itself was really fun in Halo 5, maybe? It was like that kind of big battle mode. Maybe it was Halo 4. Nah, I think it was Halo 5. But anyway, the idea, right, that you could essentially have a big MOBA-like war going on while you are also doing regular Halo shenanigans. Like, if you can just take big team battle and really make it bigger by padding in a bunch of AI, like, I know that in many games, like, I know Battlefield even had a bit of its own controversy with the AI soldiers, but the thing is, like, Halo AI it's generally better, and the design of Halo opponents, I can't believe I've forgotten the name of the design principle. It's one of the ones that was quite, at least it's either Coin to Buy or Doom is the game that's heavily referenced, where it's like, think about the enemies in Doom. They're all so different from each other that basically fighting any combination of those enemies kind of does feel unique and different, and that's one of the things that's allowed the combat sandbox of Halo in PvE to be so strong. So now that on Forge people can actually mix that stuff together, that is really, really, really cool. I'll have to see how much like scripting and stuff can be done. I just think about all the times, playing like zombie maps with my friends, playing Fat Kid. Do you remember playing that one? Imagine, Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One, just slowly marching down the corridor while all you and your friends try to get through some crazy obstacle course. Those were the goddamn days. That AI is being thrown into the mix, into the already absolutely spectacular Forge editor that this game has. It truly does give me some hope. And, hey, they've put the tools in the hands of the community. People who love Halo, like, we've stuck through Halo through thick and thin, and it's just cool to see that creativity being unleashed. This is like games industry at its best. People are just making cool shit, the tools that are given to them, it kind of, it's like there's the dialogue of a game, the kind of back and forth, this crazy discourse between players and developers that can involve player-generated content, which, if you think about so many major trends in gaming, be it the auto-battler, be it MOBAs, be it, like, tower defense, right? So much of that is just made by players using tools that have been given to them. This is good old school gaming, and I really like, I just really like that they're supporting it so much. So that's awesome. And on that very happy note, thank you for watching today's show. Be sure to check out today's sponsor at that link down below. To be real with you right now, CPMs are like half. They're really bad on YouTube. It's actually sort of spooky. So yeah, the sponsors like literally do keep the lights on. So big thanks to them for partnering with us. Thanks to you for watching. and I'll see you next time.